we pretty much knew this was going to happen anyway, but the British Board of Boxing Control and promoter Eddie Hearn have both come out today and said that the Anthony Joshua Dillian Whyte fight has been agreed upon, and it will be for the vacant British heavyweight title, and it's likely to take place in November or December, obviously assuming Joshua and Whyte come through their next fights. Joshua is still on course to fight someone in September. We don't know who that is yet. The front runner seems to be Gary Cornish. And the word on the grapevine is, this is not official, but the word on the grapevine is Dillian Whyte is set to fight in August on the Eddie Hearn show in, I'm guessing, a tune-up fight for the Joshua fight, as well as having apparently a hand problem that he's been dealing with, Dillian Whyte. He also has a situation with his trainer, Chris Oko, who was the victim of a hit and run. He broke his hip and what have you, and he was in a pretty bad way, so he hasn't been able to train Dillian all this time. So that's obviously a very, very difficult thing for Dillian to deal with, and it's understandable that he's going to need some time to really evaluate what he's doing, and he wouldn't be ready by September. Perfectly understandable. But it is good to hear something official from the British Board of Boxing Control and whatnot, and fingers crossed both Joshua and Whyte get through their next fights unscathed and uninjured so we can have the big showdown. It's a fight that I've been looking forward to for a long time. I obviously like the heavyweights, and I like domestic heavyweight scraps. I remember back in the days a fight that was called the Battle of Brixton. It was only a domestic fight, as I said, as I'm talking about. It was only a domestic fight, wasn't a world level fight or anything like that, but it was between Danny Williams and a guy called Keith Long. Keith Long weren't actually from Brixton, but he trained in Brixton. He was from South London, but he trained in Brixton, so they called it the Battle of Brixton. If you haven't seen that fight, I recommend you go watch it. Yes, it's only a York Hall domestic British heavyweight title fight, but it was a fantastic fight. I'm telling you, that fight was right up there with the best heavyweight fights you're likely to see. In terms of entertainment value, it was a tremendous fight. Those guys were both going at it, trying to tear each other's heads off. That was when Danny Williams was in his prime. And ever since then, I've wanted to see a British heavyweight title fight that was on that type of level in terms of intensity. I can't remember if we've had anything that intense since then. The British heavyweight title fights that I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, these might not have been British heavyweight title fights, but there was Chisora against Sexton. The second fight, it was a decent fight, but it was nothing like Williams against Keith Long. There's been, who else? Williams Harrison, was that a British heavyweight title fight? I don't know, but either way, I think this is going to be the most exciting British heavyweight title fight, at least the build up to it. We'll see what happens in the ring. I think it's going to be the most exciting British heavyweight title fight in quite some time. Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte. There's no love lost there. It's a genuine beef. It's not a fake beef like some people have tried to make out. It's a genuine beef that these two guys have with each other. Now, I just want to read you some interesting things that Dillian Whyte said, because some of you may know, some of you may not know that Dillian Whyte has spent a lot of time in the Klitschko camp over the past few years, and he sparred with Vladimir and Vitaly. And these are some things, this is from an article on Sky Sports, and these are some things that Dillian said about being in the Klitschko camp. It's an interesting insight. He said, all Vladimir cares about is preparing for his fights the best way he can. If that means knocking out a couple of sparring partners, he don't care. He brings a lot of guys to sparring because I think he wants to knock a few people out. One week there was 15 people there, and then it went down to 10. It's good sparring. I've been there 3 times and I've never been down. People can say whatever they want. It's sparring, but for me, it's an achievement. I've seen a lot of guys get decked. I've ended every session standing. No black eyes, no broken nose, no busted mouth. That did a lot for my confidence. He also goes on to say, as a human being, Vitaly is a bit more of a people person. Vladimir is okay too, but Vitaly will sit and joke more with the other guys. Vladimir is more businesslike in training camp. A lot of guys don't like getting too close to their sparring partners because they find it hard to spar with them. As fighters, Vitali was a better close-up fighter. Even though he was the taller guy, he didn't mind getting in to the doghouse and having it with a shorter guy, which can be a danger zone. Vladimir likes to keep it long, keep it moving, keep it strict boxing, and use his jab and big right hands. And yeah, he also said he's a massive inspiration to me when talking about Vladimir. Before, I didn't really look up to him much. I thought he was all right, but I looked up to Vitali more. But now I have a high appreciation of what Vladimir does at his age. His work ethic, his professionalism is second to none. Sometimes he does 12 rounds and he'll do another 3. He'll spar 4 days a week religiously, 12 or 15 rounds. For me, that was a big shock, seeing how he does it day in, day out. He's still got that hunger, desire, and discipline after all he's achieved. Now, what's interesting there is the fact that Dillian Whyte has never been dropped, never been busted up, according to him anyway. I don't see why he would lie, particularly not in a public interview. Never been dropped, never been busted up or anything like that by Vladimir Klitschko. Yes, it's with headgear and 16-ounce or 18-ounce gloves on, but I get the impression that Dillian Whyte is tough. Not just mentally, but I think physically as well. We'll definitely find out in the Joshua fight, but I think he's tough. And despite the fact he's a lot more crude than Joshua, nowhere near as refined technically, I think the physical strength, the raw aggression, and the toughness that he brings, and the energy, the youthful energy and enthusiasm will make it a rousing spectacle to watch. I think it's going to be high octane stuff when Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte get in the ring. However long it lasts, I think it's going to be action packed and Joshua is going to be put under pressure. He's going to be forced to fight, I think. So I very much look forward to the fight. Let me know how you guys feel about this announcement that is definitely going to take place in November, December. And also let me know what you think about Dillian Whyte's comments regarding his time spent in the Klitschko camp. Drop your comments below. It's happening. I'm out.